You know, I never had much as a kid. Just loving parents, and stability in a mansion, and a thriving baked goods enterprise for me to inherit. Useless crap like that.
This is Jack Horner, the main villain in DreamWorks Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. But how did DreamWorks transform a classic, harmless, nursery rhyme character into a formidable foe? Have no worries, cause today I'm going to share a story on how they managed to transform Jack from an idea all the way to a moving, despicable villain. My name is Caleb and this is the Villain Forge. Before we begin, as usual, I'm a self-taught artist and I'm constantly learning how to draw. So what I do is I draw or sketch the character I'm talking about and see if I can do justice to it. If that's fine with you, then let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a traditional English nursery rhyme with origins tracing back to the 18th century. The name of the rhyme is Little Jack Horner. So, the earliest known printed version of the rhyme appeared in 1725, to be specific, in the collection Mother Goose's Melody. However, the rhyme itself is believed to have been in oral circulation before this date. And the nursery rhyme goes as follows. Because I can't sing, I'll just read it out. Little Jack Horner sat in the corner, eating a Christmas pie. He put in a thumb and pulled out a plum and said, "What a good boy I am."
Stuck in my thumb, pulled out a plum and said, "What a good boy am I."
So, the rhyme's origin are often linked to a historical figure named Thomas Horner. According to legend, Thomas Horner was a steward to Richard Whiting, the last abbot of Glastonbury, during the reign of King Henry VIII. So the story suggests that Horner was sent to London with a pie containing the deeds to 12 manor houses, intended as a bribe to the king. However, along the way, Horner supposedly opened the pie and extracted one of the deeds for himself, thus acquiring manor of Mells. This tale, while intriguing, it may be considered a more folklore than fact. Now, let me bring you to the present past, which is 2012 at DreamWorks Animation, when they began plans for a sequel to Puss in Boots in November that year. However, plans languished in developmental hell until November 2018. That's when they decided to revive the sequel, with Chris Meledandri confirmed as executive producer and Bob Pescichetti assigned at the helm of the film, but was later replaced by Joe Crawford as director in March of 2021. We'll talk about him later. So, they assigned Paul Fisher and Tommy Swedlow to write the screenplay, and the story itself was written by Tommy Swedlow with Tim Wheeler this time. So, they rewrote the character as Big Jack Horner, who was the owner of Jack Horner Pie Corporation, crime lord, pastry chef, and collector of magical items, but doesn't have any magical powers. However, he is the main villain apart from Deathwood, who I believe is just an antagonist. He was merciless and didn't care about others apart from himself, and his main objective or goal was to reach the wishing star by all means necessary and use it to control all magic in existence. So they hired a Spanish illustrator, character designer, and comic artist by the name of Jesus Alonso Iglesias. He also worked as character designer for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. He played an important role in developing the visual style of the characters, ensuring Jack Horner's design aligned with the film's distinct painty aesthetic. Iglesias' design work incorporated elements that balanced a traditional fairy tale look with a unique graphic feel that helped define the character's menacing and magical presence. He designed the character with a big physique, small babyface head, which looked like Little Jack Horner from the play, with huge arms with small legs and shoes, with a purple hair and suit with a lot of material on it, which gave the character a large presence on screen. However, he had blonde hair in the early concept works he made. So Iglesias' character design work earned him a nomination for the Annie Award for Best Character Design of 2023. However, he won the 2024 award this year for his work on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Now, they brought in an American stand-up comedian, actor, and producer by the name of John Mulaney to voice the character Jack Horner. Mulaney brought a distinctive, comedic, and sinister flair to Jack Horner, blending humor with menace.
All right, magical locust. Defoliate, fly, and feast. Eat those.
His voice work added layers of personality to the character, making Jack both entertaining and intimidating. Mulaney's comedic background and timing allowed for a performance that was both fresh and dynamic, aligning with the film's tone.
I know what it's like to think like Jack Horner. I'd never say it out loud.
All I can say is he was made for this role.
I'm not really stressing about the manpower. I've got a bottomless bag of magic weapons.
Now, the intricate process of storyboarding was important in defining Jack Horner's role. Lead storyboard artists meticulously mapped out each scene, ensuring the character's actions and expressions aligned with the villainous persona, which helped the animation team guided by Mark Edwards, who has more than 18 plus years working on animation and VFX in various roles. So, the film's visual design was inspired by Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse to make the film look more like a fairy tale storybook illustration, of which the idea was suggested by Nate Rang, who was the production designer. Because personally, I was impressed on how detailed they animated Jack Horner's movements and expressions for his size and presence. Kudos to the animators, which was achieved by using a 2.5D animation style, which involved a lot of trial and error. So according to the director himself, he gave credit to Mark Edwards and Nate Rang for the consistent work and attention to detail throughout the entirety of the animation process. Now, as we established, the director of the film is Joel Crawford, who replaced Bob Pescichetti. So Crawford wanted the film to have a dark tone, with Puss's morality and fear of death being the film's main focus. He drew inspiration from fairy tales by the Brothers Grimm and how they were cautionary tales that took you somewhere dark to make you appreciate the light. And the good, the bad, the ugly was cited as a particular influence on the film's plot. So the way he positioned Big Jack Horner was to make him more evil with every appearance he had. For example, I didn't take him seriously when I saw his first scene, but started noticing his dark theme with every next scene he appeared in, until it escalated to the ultimate despicable character in the end, till his death. Did I spoil too much for people who haven't watched the movie? I won't say much, I'll end here. So Crawford's vision for the character was to create a villain who embodied a blend of dark humor and traditional menace. He aimed to make Jack Horner a character who stood out through his over-the-top villainy, making him both entertaining and intimidating. He envisioned Jack as a larger-than-life figure, whose motivations were driven by desperate need for validation and respect, making him a complex and memorable antagonist within the film's fairy tale universe. And I personally believe he was more of a villain than the other antagonists.